Well, Trump done stepped in it again.
Bobby Brown on the mic, we discussing it all. Faith, family, finances, standing tall. Politics, entertainment, rolling.
Trump done stepped in it again. Trump went on the Laura Ingram show. Just look at this picture. Two dits. Two blonde dits with. No, don't you talk about my Trump. Don't you talk about my Trump. And he got the nerves to talk about Biden, which is was a mess. But this guy is actually a competent mess. At least Biden could say his age got him. He's a competent mess. Laura Ingram gives him a softball interview. She tried to be tough. She tried. But it's still a softball interview because we know this is crafted to fit Trump. And even then, he dropped the ball. Here's a full interview of Trump. We're going to try to break it down. I got to get ready to go to work. Let's roll.
And Trump in the diplomatic room at the White House. We talked Doge, China, illegal immigration. He even told us what he sees for Barron's future. But we start tonight with the big news.
I don't give a crap for no
conversation
Barron.
with Vladimir Putin.
Dude, I don't care what your kids do. Barron's future.
Mr. President, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
We got a readout of your call with Vladimir Putin, and it was a fairly optimistic take. Vladimir Putin agreed to a ceasefire immediately on energy and infrastructure,
right,
but not to a 30-day ceasefire. Tell us what happened.
Well, you have a situation where you have a lot of guns pointing at each other foolishly because it would have never happened if I were president. That was not a war that was supposed to happen.
Negro, stop lying. Negro, stop lying. You said that as soon as you get in the office, you'll stop it in day one. If you don't stop lying, this would have never happened. This was happening. This has been happening for the longest, man. You can't stop a war from happening. You could try to get them to come to terms or whatever. I don't know where these people get in their mind that they're that doggone great and that doggone good. What you gonna do to stop it? Give them some Playboy magazine? Put a couple of million in their pocket? What will you do to stop it, Trump? Get out of here. I want to see what he said. If I was president, I would have implemented this and this would have stopped it. What would you have done?
And it did happen. So that's where we are. And right now, you have a lot of guns pointing at each other. And a ceasefire without going a little bit further would have been tough. Russia has the advantage, as you know. They have encircled about 2,500 soldiers. They're nicely encircled, and that's not good. And we want to get it over with. Look, we're doing this. There are no Americans involved. There could be if you end up in World War III over this, which is so ridiculous. But, you know, strange things happen. And I think we had a great call. It lasted almost 2 hours. Talked about a lot of things and toward getting it to peace. And we talked about other things also.
Was there non-negotiables mentioned by Putin? It was reported that I think the Kremlin media actually stated that he demanded an immediate cessation of aid to Ukraine in order to get to this multi-step deal.
No, he didn't. We didn't talk about aid. Actually, we didn't talk about aid at all. We talked about a lot of things, but aid was never discussed.
In the readout, it also stated that both sides want to get to an improved bilateral relationship, the United States and Russia.
That's true.
How can we trust that Vladimir Putin actually wants that, in that he's not also being influenced at the same time by his close friend, President Xi of China?
Well, look, we have our own discussions with President Xi of China, and he wants to get along also, and he's looking.
Now, this part of Trump, when it can't come to dealing with China and stuff like that and Russia, I can get a little trust in it, because the reason I say this is because being an international businessman and going to different countries and building businesses, including China, you're going to end up dealing with, especially when you're somebody of that caliber, you're going to end up having a relationship with these people. That's why I thought it was important from the jump start that Kamala did what Hillary Clinton did, was immediately, she shouldn't have been, in my opinion, she shouldn't have been vice president. I don't think vice president is a good shot to president. And if you're going to put somebody as vice president, you put a person who used to be Secretary of State there. I think the Secretary of State position is so important because you have to really represent the United States across the world. And you have to get to know these leaders and build these trusted leaders. And Hillary Clinton took the time to do that. Her problem was she did so many scumbag, sneaky-ish stuff, like trying to do whatever she can to get rid of Muammar Gaddafi, who did nothing to the United States, trying to do whatever she can to make sure that she built a statue of a possible president, a possible person to deal with in the future. That's why, to me, I don't think Kamala was a great choice for VP. They should have put her in a cabinet position first. It should always be not from senator to position. You should have a cabinet position first, from the House and the Senate to a cabinet position. See how well you do that, and that cabinet position will determine your ability to lead this country. In my opinion, this is what she should have did, because Trump has these relationships with these countries. He have more of a confidence when talking about this stuff. Now, a lot of stuff is bullcrap, but the level of confidence and the surety that he has when he talk about this put you in a position where you can honestly believe him to a certain point that he knows what he talk about when it comes to dealing with world leaders. Now, domestic, he's trash. Trying to make things happen worldly for the domestic, for America, in America, trash.
And we're looking to get along with him, and we will. We have a problem with trade where we have a very big imbalance with China. With Russia, we don't have that much trade, and they'd like to, and we'd like to also. They have some very valuable things for us, including very big forms of rare earth. They have a lot of earth. You know, they have a big chunk of real estate, the biggest in the world for a country by far. And on that, they have things that we could use, frankly, and that other people could use. I think that President Xi would like to get along, and I think Russia wants to get along with the United States. I also think we're a much different country than we were just a few months ago. We're a country that's now respected. We were not respected. We were being laughed at.
How do you know that, Trump? Joe Biden as president, it was laughable. You very rarely saw the guy. We had a vice president that should have been Secretary of State, but they made her the czar of immigration, and boy, was that a debacle. I hate to say it. He may be right on that. We may be in a laughing stock. But look, you being in that position ain't made it no better, bro, because people still laughing at you, especially after this interview.
And incompetent leadership. This was a war, as an example, that would have never happened if I were president.
Is part of your desire to forge this new relationship with Russia also impacted by Russia's closer relationship since you left office in 2021 with China? Because I think you talked about before the desire to box out China from that part of the world and have a closer relationship with Russia.
So as a student of history, which I am,
Student of history. Video stop.
And I've watched it all. The first thing you learn is you don't want Russia and China to get together. With that being said, no, it's not a big part of it, but maybe that'll happen or maybe it won't. Obama really forced them together through energy and bad energy policy.
Always this Obama thing. This Obama, Biden. The reason China, the reason Brazil, the reason they formed BRIC is because of U.S. foreign policy from the left and right. You don't do things our way. We gonna put sanctions on you. We gonna blockade your routes. You won't get any food. You won't get any appliances. You won't get anything shipped into your country if you don't give us what we want. In other words, we are bullies, and we're gonna bully you to give us your resources. Either you can do it one way or the other. You remain as the leader there and work with us, or we're going to make it difficult for you, do regime change, put somebody in your place that's going to play ball with us. People are tired of that. People know the American playbook has been going on for so long. Give us what we want, or we'll take it. Either you're going to get, it's just like a man going into prison. You're going to give me what I want, I'm going to take it. We can do this the easy way, or we can do the rock hard way. No. That's what we've been doing to these countries. And we've been sticking it to them ever since then. And we be trying to make these countries become a BITC.
You are my bitch. That's what. My own personal bitch.
And that's what we pretty much done worldwide. And that's why they don't look at us the same, even with Trump in office. They see a revitalization of that. And that's why they joined these organizations, develop their own currency. So we'll start our own dollar. We'll start our own organization. And now Trump is saying that, hey, it was Biden's fault. It was Obama's fault. No, it's America. That's just how we do things. When are we going to stop doing that thing? Because you're doing it right now. You're doing it in Venezuela right now. You're going to start marching on to Nigeria to do it right now, because it ain't about persecuted Christians. It's about Nigerian oil.
Policies, and what he did, so many different things. He forced a marriage which would never have taken place. It was not a natural. And for one reason, Russia has tremendous land, a lot of land, and China doesn't have enough land. Russia has a much smaller population than China. And it's sort of a natural, it was always a natural enemy situation. They're probably friendly now, but we're going to be friendly with both. I think we're going to be friendly with both. China needs us in terms of trade very badly, but we have to straighten out the deficit. We have now more than $1 trillion.
China actually don't need much. China is starting to produce. China got land like they're starting to produce crops. They're starting to produce farms. They're starting to build up farmland, milk cows, eggs, groceries, fruits, and vegetables. And they're starting to whoop us on the tech. So China feel like they're in a great position that America need them more than they need us.
Dollar deficit with China. It's not even believable. And we're going to be doing something about that. And with Russia, they would like to have some of our economic power.
The criticism that you've heard since really 2015 is that you have more in common with Vladimir Putin than you do with globalist leaders, maybe some NATO leaders, and in this case, with Zelensky. You're both nationalists. Zelensky's more of a globalist. How do you respond to that criticism?
Well, I am a nationalist, but I'm a nationalist for the United States, not for anybody else. And it's interesting.
You're a nationalist.
Lies. Oh, lies!
Now, we tend to make nationalists like white nationalists. You know, David Duke and a lot of those guys talk about white nationalism. Malcolm X talked about black nationalism. Now, you take the word nationalism just means whatever you're doing it for the sake of the nation. There's no white in it or black in it. It's just national. That my every move and every decision is to benefit the growth and the development of that we should be exporting cars and other countries buying our cars more than us importing and we buying everybody else. I'm going to do whatever I can to make sure more people in America buy our cars and more people across seas buy our cars versus the other. That's a nationalist. A nationalist does one thing: nation building up this nation, doing whatever they can to make housing affordable, making sure that food is economical, making sure that a man don't have to work 2-3 jobs and halfway kill himself just to make ends meet. That one job is enough. And if the wife worked 2, that's just extra money on the table. That's nationalism. But this guy's not not talking about it. He's a nationalist over there kissing Israel behind, Saudi Arabia behind. Get out of here.
Because there's nobody been tougher on Russia than me. I'm the one that pointed out Nord Stream 2, and I stopped it. Nord Stream is the biggest pipeline, I guess, in the world, taking care of all of Europe. And it was being built from before I...
How do you think you can control a pipeline that Russia built? See, these are the lies he's trying to tell. And see, the reason that he tried to put sanctions on them because they was going to build an oil pipeline straight to Syria. That's why they had to beef with Syria, because he didn't want that beautiful pipeline, as he said, that beautiful pipeline built from Russia to Syria, because it would have brought great amount of money to every region in that area, every region. And he was afraid that most of those people are going to appreciate it to the point that their country too may join BRICS and support the BRICS dollar versus the American dollar or the New World Order dollar, or what they call it, the European Union dollar. I call it the New World Order.
Got there, and they were on the way. It was going to be, and I stopped it. It was just stone cold dead. I stopped it in its tracks. That's not somebody that's being particularly... This was the biggest project they ever had. I had to stop. When Biden got in, he immediately approved it. Like, immediately. One of the first things he did in office was he approved Nord Stream 2. Nobody ever heard of Nord Stream 2 until I was president. I said, what are you doing? You mean you're building a pipeline to Germany and various places in Europe. You're paying them billions of dollars a month, and then we're paying a lot of money to fight them. This is not going to work out well. And it stopped, and then Biden approved it.
And then to top it off, he lied, which I thought that was special.
Which was a really stupid thing to do, but he did it. And Putin actually said to me, if you're my friend, I'd hate to see you as my enemy. He said that very strongly.
Nigga, please.
But I had, with all of that, I had a very good relationship with Putin. I had a very good relationship with President Xi, a very good relationship with Kim Jong-un of North Korea. Lots of good relationships. And that's a positive thing. That's not a negative thing. But at the same time, I'm about our country. So that's why we're talking about tariffs. We'll be taking in trillions.
Now, let's let them keep saying that. Yeah, I'm doing all this thing across the streets. I'm about our country. Now, I strongly believe the tariff you're trying to do for the country, will it work? I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and be one-sided and say it ain't going to work because I don't like it. And hoping everything that you touch don't work. I'm not that guy. No matter who in that seat, I want what he do for America to beautify and grow America. But you're America second on a lot of things, dude. A lot of things. And this is going to turn your base against you. It's not going to get you more independent voters. You're done. You only can do a few more years. I don't believe what Bannon is crazy out of his mind. Trump ain't running, and if he is running, Obama can run. If Trump decided to run, Obama's still young, he can run. Trump ain't going to do that. He don't want to showcase between him and Obama. Man, that thing will get ugly. They hate each other. Well, until somebody died and they had a funeral. And they're all cordial, passing out candy, slapping each other's hands, saying their goodbye to another fellow.
Billions of dollars.
I want to get to the tariffs in a minute because we're going to first hit the other big news of the day, which was the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court issued what a rare statement about your suggestion on Truth that you posted earlier today that Judge James Boasberg should be impeached after he ordered those deportation flights to El Salvador halted, essentially turned around. The Chief Justice said it was more than two centuries we understood that essentially impeachment was for very rare circumstances and not.
Now, let me deal with this impeachment. Negro, you got some doggone nerves to call for somebody and be impeached. You done been more impeached than a Georgia peach. Chief Justice on calls to impeach. Here we go again with the Messiah complex, the God complex. Somebody don't want to go your way, and this happened to every presidency. You know, dude, this is a democracy. We got checks and balances. And you ain't going to let you or nobody stop that. That will remain here. We need to strengthen our government, not weaken it. We're not going to weaken America and America resolve an America way of doing things for you. Who the hell are you? Who the heck are you? You get sick just like us. You're a human being. People are not going to agree with you. People are not going to be in lockstep with you, and they should never be. You see people start doing something like that, you need to change your ways because now you're trying to be God. And God do not like when somebody try to become him, if you know what I mean. For more than 2 centuries, it has been established that impeachment is not an appropriate response to a disagreement concerning a judicial system. The no-appellate review process exists for that purpose. And you got Chief Justice Roberts putting Trump in this place. Dude, you need to shut up. Somebody don't agree with you. We shouldn't be sending people to another doggone country. Send them to the country they came. This is crazy. This is over top. Now, look, I'm for you with the immigration thing. Hey, you can't cross this border illegally. You got to go back and come in the proper. There's a way to come in here. And even though we might tighten it up, make it harder for you to come here, there's a way for you to come in here. Coming through here by the droves and putting that kind of weight on our economy and breaking the financial system of America and the welfare system of America is too much. That is for Americans.
An appropriate response to rulings you disagree with. What's your reaction to the courts stepping in to make a statement here? They didn't make a statement when Joe Biden decided to forgive all those student loans.
Well, he didn't mention my name in the statement. I just saw it quickly. He didn't mention my name, but many people have called for his impeachment, the impeachment of this judge. I don't know who the judge is, but he's radical left. He was Obama appointed.
Who is the many? You like to say stuff and just expect us to believe you. Who is the many? Name the judges. Name the judges. You're saying that because you want to make it seem like you got a lot of people that agree with you and on your side. That's what this is. You always got to make sure you're shining even when you're not shining. Megalomaniac.
Appointed. And he actually said we shouldn't be able to take criminals, killers, murderers, horrible, the worst people, gang members, gang leaders, that we shouldn't be allowed to take them out of our country. Well, that's a presidential job. That's not for a local judge to be making that determination. And I thought it was terrible.
Actually, that's a local, state, city job. That's not a president. You're going to get criminals to come in. We get criminals from the United States going to other country. It's up to that local municipality to identify that crook and have them booted out of the country. Now you can coincide together, especially if this person is on a FBI most wanted list or something like that, or terror list or something like that. But a local crime, throw 3 beers, he hit somebody upside the head and took their wallet. That's for the local principalities to do. That's not your job, man. Stop trying to be the boss of every freaking thing in this country. Yeah, they need to be thrown out of this country, but you ain't got the one to do it. Your decision and how you decide to do it should not be the one that everybody else decides.
In fact, he said when they were well on their way, there was an order issued, as I understand it, to bring them back or to not let them go or something. And this is not something that the country would stand for. These people, they were let in here by an incompetent president who had open borders, and anybody throughout the world could come in. And we were given murderers, we were given people from mental institutions and prisons.
The judge is essentially saying
some, as you said in your famous speech when you announced that you were running in 2016, some are criminals, some are mentally ill, some are gangbangers, some, not all. Majority of them are not. But yeah, some. But we have to base that because we don't have any documents, and he's right. The other administrator flopped that and allowed these people to come in here with no documentation. It's still not the federal government to. The federal government got to work with the local state government to identify these people and pull them out. And yeah, look, I give it to him. They has been doing that with ICE, trying to get the local government agencies to work with ICE. For some reason, they want to protest. And Trump's like, look, we'll take them out of the country. But like I said, Trump, you don't need to have your agencies to do that. You can provide the information that they may need to help identify this guy and get this guy out. But send them to another country other than the country they came from is cruel.
Excuse me, Mr. President, that there still is a process in place. You can read between the lines. It hasn't been a full ruling yet. I know your Justice Department is appealing this on a couple of different grounds, but this is leading people to wonder whether there are court orders that you will defy because you believe that the judge has no jurisdiction, or they're political questions and not justiciable at all. And what would you say to that? Are there circumstances where you would defy a court order?
Well, I think that, number one, nobody's been through more courts than I have. I think nobody knows the courts any better than I have. I would say the chief judge does, but nobody knows them better than I have. And what they've done to me, I've had the worst judges. I've had crooked judges.
So you being through court make you an expert on being a judge.
What?
You can't make this up, dude. You can't think. Nobody knows them. Nobody knows about the courts better than I do. Nobody know about the basketball better than I do, or the basketball courts, or the courtship with my lady friend in Milana. And man, stop.
I have judges that valued Mar-a-Lago at $18 million because that benefited his case, because he wanted to see me convicted of something. I have judges that had relatives making millions and millions of dollars on the election, ruling on the election.
But going forward,
I had judges
would you
that were
defy
so
a court
corrupt.
order? We all know that, and that was
I never did defy a court order.
Wait a damn minute. Wait a damn.
And you wouldn't in the future.
No, you can't do that. However, we have bad judges. We have very bad judges, and these are judges that shouldn't be allowed. I think
Why are they bad judges? Because they don't agree with you? Here we go again. If you don't agree with me, you're bad. Oh, you're bad. You're un-American. You're not a patriot. You don't care about America. You hate America. Why? Because you disagree with me. I am America. I can tell a flag to come and hug me, and a flag will actually move and come and hug me because I'm the American Messiah. Stop. Ain't the right thought the same about Obama, but this egotistical way of thinking. Now, look, I gotta tell you, I gotta give Obama his prop. Obama would say some of the same things, not all, Same thing, but he a little too smooth with it. Oh, look here. Look, I mean, you gotta put this thing in perspective and understand. We got some judges out here that that shouldn't be judged. They're put in by a corrupt administration, and we want to make sure we get some judges in there with some integrity. You mean some judges in there that's loyal to you? That's not exactly what I mean, but yeah, get out of here.
At a certain point, you have to start looking at what do you do when you have a rogue judge. The judge that we're talking about, you look at his other...
A rogue judge. What? Again, this is the Messiah complex, the king complex, the number one boss, the big boss, the head whitey in charge. I can't say Negro in charge. This is the mentality of this guy that if you don't go along with us and the way we think, you're rogue. You're anti-American. You're not MAGA. Because if you was a MAGA judge, it shouldn't be no MAGA judge. Only American judge. Boy, y'all better come get your boy. People used to say, Rob, your boy. Why? Because I agree with a couple of his policies. Y'all just like this idiot. If you don't go lock and stock and barrel, then you must be a Trumper. No. I can agree with some of the policies. My problem is I know he's not going to implement them. If he do, I'll be happy and shocked.
The rulings unrelated, but having to do with me, he's a lunatic.
He wants details.
There we go. Anybody doesn't agree with me is a lunatic. A luna, which is a moon, and a tick, which is a bloodsucker. You're a moon bloodsucker.
Details of when flights departed and I guess they seem to be trying to lay the predicate for your administration having defied a court order. Now, you all have said you haven't given specific times, and you filed a motion in court, your Justice Department, to prevent any more information getting out about specific times of flights. So that seems to be where this is going. Do you have faith that the Supreme Court ultimately will rule in your favor in this case?
I do, because the job of getting people out of our country that are murderers, that are absolutely the worst people, the drug lords, are causing such problems in this country. Drug lords came in, the biggest of them. They left other countries to come in here. They came through an open border. They're making millions of dollars destroying people's lives, killing people. And that's a presidential thing. We're supposed to be getting them out or getting them brought to justice. We had a judge, I would call him a rogue judge. You can call him whatever you want. I know nothing about him. I heard about this very late in the process, and I said, that's a strange order. You have local judges, local federal judges, period, and DAs and prosecutors, DAs, state attorney generals that want to really...
In other words, you're not the only law, bruh. We're going to stop here and pick up on part 2. We're halfway through the Laura Ingram Trump interview, and we're capping off where the judge denied him the order to send these people overseas to a foreign country. I think the discussion is a foreign country. You shouldn't have a right to just send them anywhere, man. I mean, if you're going to get involved in getting these people out of the country, these crooks, these con artists, the bad ones, as you say, the drug dealers and all that. Not talking about the regular people who just trying to look for opportunity. But if you're going to get these types of people out of this country, your bet is to send them back to the other country and just drop. If they got dropped off in our country, they get dropped off back in their country. You don't get to drop them off in somebody else's land. That's violating their borders. That's violating their courts. I mean, and you're going to give them money to house them? That's more money coming out of American people's pocket going to pay for immigrants to be housed and sheltered at some foreign country. You're spending money flying them there. You're spending money housing them in another country instead of just sending them back. But my point is, you taking American dollars, instead of investing it in America, you're going to invest it on sending these people to a prison in a land that they don't know. And when a judge say, nah, that ain't happening, no. And the furthest we're going to go, we're going to send them back to their home country. And we ain't going to be spending too much money doing that. We can just throw them back over the border. That's for free. And for you to call that judge rogue and you don't even know who this judge is, dude, you got to
really take over. I think some of it's for the publicity. They love the publicity. All of a sudden, they're on the front page of every newspaper, but they have no right to be.
When we come back, President Trump reacts to the latest Doge news, and it's a court ruling. More of my interview with the president next.
All right. So there you go. We're going to pick up here in the part 2 of this interview with Laura Ingram. Laura Ingram is asking him some tough questions, but I'm quite sure these questions were being given to him ahead of time because she's another side. These questions was given to him ahead of time. He was prepared for these questions. He answered them pretty solidly. He only stumbled on a couple of areas. This overbearing, my way is the way, the truth, and the life. And if you're not with me, you're against me. And if you're rogue and you're wacko and you lost your way, this kind of talk is a talk that's going to hurt him more than help. And we're going to prove that in the next part of this interview of the Laura Ingram and Trump interview on the Bobby Brown Show. I'll holler at you later. Remember, like, subscribe, share, and always remember,
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.